In just a few hours, a tidal wave of decisions that could shape the landscape of the league as we know it must be made.
Decisions made can impact an entire franchise.
I'm going to take my talents to South Beach.
Golden State for Kevin Durant.
Unbelievable.
Where you can expect the unexpected. Players who can change history forever.
It's going to be a different summer in the NBA. I think there's going to be a lot of guys entering the NBA portal.
In the next 2 or 3 days, we're going to see a bunch of people come to contract camp.
I think you go all in on anything you can.
The first domino has fallen.
The plot is thickening.
Free agency on NBA Today.
Clay for the win.
Starts now.
Ooh, boy, ready or not, here we go. We are live here from our Los Angeles studios, joined today by two of our senior writers, in Zach Lowe and Brian Windhorst, a couple of folks who know a little something about winning NBA championships, Richard Jefferson, Kendrick Perkins. We're going to have a whole bunch of reporters joining us as well. How are we feeling now that we're less than 30 minutes away from free agency beginning?
I'm waiting for something to happen.
There's been things happening.
There's a lot of stuff
Literally the last couple of days.
So impatient. What's been happening? So impatient.
What's happening? Yeah, we know this. Let's not wait any longer. Yeah, it really was. Let's welcome in, though, the busiest man in the business, our senior insider, Adrian Wojnarowski. Woj, we reported that LeBron James has opted out of his contract and became a free agent for the first time, essentially, since 2018. What exactly does this mean?
Well, it means, number one, that LeBron James plans to return to the Lakers. But the question is, what kind of a contract does he do moving forward? And what LeBron James has told the Lakers, according to our Dave Mitteman, who talked to Rich Paul about this, is essentially if the Lakers have a chance to get at maybe a couple of the impact players that are available in free agency with their mid-level exception, that LeBron James is willing to take less money on this deal, and it would be significantly less money, maybe upwards of $20 million, so that the Lakers could have their full mid-level exception. And that's why the Lakers are preparing pursuits now of Klay Thompson, Jonas Valanciunas, the center from New Orleans, who's another player in this free agency class who's a veteran who is accomplished. There's not a lot of them. And so for the Lakers, that is going to move fast in free agency. That those are players that I think ultimately are going to move off the board maybe as soon as the first night. So I think the Lakers, the rest of the league, will have some clarity on what that looks like. And if the Lakers can't land one of those players using that $13 million mid-level exception, then ultimately LeBron James takes his full max, which on a 3-year deal would be 3 years, $160 million plus.
And as Woj just said, we expect this to begin to move rather quickly here. Woj, please do not go too far, but I know you're a busy man. We'll let you get back to it. Perk, if LeBron does take a pay cut, which he has offered to do, according to our reporting, who should be the priority that they are targeting here? We're hearing Klay Thompson. We're hearing Jonas Valanciunas. Who do you have your eye on?
I like Klay. I love Klay for the Lakers. I mean, you think about it, right? When you think about AD and Bron, you need to surround them with shooters, right? Klay Thompson is at the stage of his career. It's not even about the two-way Klay Thompson that we seen when he was in his prime with Golden State. It's about catch and shoot Klay Thompson, getting the ball on time, on target, and what he would bring to the table for the Los Angeles Lakers, especially under their new coach in J.J. Redick, who I heard on plenty of occasions when he was, calling games, talking about, the Laker roster and that they need more shooting. So I'm looking at Klay Thompson and the Los Angeles Lakers. To me, it's a perfect match.
So if LeBron takes a pay cut, but I need you guys to help me out here. Klay would most likely be taking a pay cut, right, to take the full mid-level exception.
Yep.
Jonas Valanciunas would be most likely taking a pay cut. Small, much smaller than Klay.
Right.
So that's the thing. I think both of those players the Lakers would be winning if they got either of those players, especially at that price. But I think both of those would have to want to play for the Lakers at less than their market value, right? So I get what LeBron's doing, but it's also about what are these players going to want, especially for a Klay. This is most likely your last contract. Are you really going to just sign a mid-level exception and then go to the Lakers when there's probably more money to be had other places?
So here's the interesting thing. Woj just reported the Lakers have agreed to a 4-year, $32 million deal with Max Christie. That's $8 more million or $7 more million, whatever it is, below the hard cap first apron before LeBron decides how much he's going to make. So they're running out of wiggle room to open up that big mid-level exception that we're talking about for guys like Klay and Jonas Valanciunas. So what does that mean for D'Angelo Russell, who just opted in his contract? Can you have D'Lo, Reeves, and Klay Thompson all in a theoretical starting lineup? What's happening here, what I think is most interesting, is between this thing we're talking about, between drafting Dalton Connect and having it be a big win for them, it seems like the Lakers are moving on from the idea of getting a third star, using their picks and all that to get a third star, and building around depth, long-term sustainability around LeBron and AD, which is kind of not what we had heard they were going to try to do 2-3 months ago, and I think that's probably smart. And the last thing is, Perk, you mentioned Klay and shooting. Just as a resource allocation thing, I'm not using my biggest chip on a center. I love Jonas Valanciunas, but AD's got to play center when the chips are down.
So I'm going to make this very simple. The Lakers cannot afford Klay Thompson right now. The only way it's going to work is if they make another trade to offload salary. LeBron James is not taking a $35 million pay cut. He will take a pay cut. He's not coming down to a massive amount of money. So they need to make another trade in the interim before Klay Thompson makes up his mind, probably with D'Angelo Russell.
That's why I mentioned
other options, probably. And if you look at the teams that are trying to get Klay before the Lakers do, one of them is the Dallas Mavericks. Yep. The Dallas Mavericks have already made their trade to reduce their salary. They have made Tim Hardaway trade with Detroit. They are ahead of the Lakers. The Lakers right now have to do something else before they can honestly make an offer for Klay. The other team I would watch for is the LA Clippers. This is Klay's hometown here in LA. If the Clippers lose Paul George, they would have some flexibility to make an offer for Klay Thompson. But don't sit there and assume that Klay's going to sign with the Lakers here at 6:01 Eastern. The Lakers got to do another deal first.
I'm willing to bet my left big toe that LeBron James is
but not your right one?
No, my left. My left one. That LeBron James is not taking a pay cut or considering taking a pay cut for the Lakers' future. It's for the now. LeBron James wants to win right now. LeBron James knows the pressure that he has, right? And I don't want to take it out of context, but to the fact of we can all speculate, but J.J. Redick was a LeBron James hire. We know this, right? And so he wants J.J. to be successful. How can J.J. be successful? By LeBron James being the best version of himself, but also making sure that the pieces match up. That's why he want to take a pay cut. It's not for the Lakers' future. It's because LeBron won another shot at it. And to be honest with you, they wasn't that far off from last year when you think about it. It's only one team that the Lakers wasn't beating in the playoffs. That was the Denver Nuggets. Any other team, I felt like they could have beat Minnesota. They could have beat Oklahoma City. They could have beat the Dallas Mavericks in the 7-game series. I mean, so they wasn't far off, but I feel like he's considered taking a pay cut to get a third star kind of player.
Well, it depends what you define as a star, right? I don't think Klay Thompson is a quote-unquote star at this point in his career. But look, first of all, I don't want any of your toes. Don't bet any of your toes. I don't want any of them. Second of all, there's no question LeBron is doing this to win today, to win now. He does not care that much about the Lakers' future. And as a perk, the Lakers aren't far off. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. You just coulda, woulda, shoulda. They won one playoff game. You got to win 12 just to get out of the West, man. There's a difference between being competitive against Denver and not being afraid of Dallas, Minnesota, Oklahoma City, who's, by the way, loading up and has cap space to spend, and beating 3 of those teams
but
4 times. They were far. Just say it. They were far.
They were far. That's his statement. That's his statement. I'm saying matchup.
They weren't far. They lost. They won one game.
Bro, Zach, was you watching the game? They were up.
Yes, it's like, yes.
Hold on, time out. In 3 of those games, they were up by double figures. Okay, so my thing is, we know that Denver was not the matchup for the Lakers.
Right.
Outside of the Nuggets, they could beat anybody else.
But the fact of the matter is, when you look at their roster right now, it looks almost identical to the roster that they had at the end of last season. And we keep talking about, okay, LeBron James taking a pay cut. What actual pay cut are we talking about that would make it so that they upgrade to the point of not being a 7 seed in the West that has to claw through a conference that, by the way, probably has 13 teams that are seriously playoff contenders here?
It just depends on who it is. Like when Dave Story came out yesterday and said that he was going to take a pay cut for Jonas Valanciunas, as accurate as it might have been, I almost passed out. With all due respect to Jonas Valanciunas, I don't see LeBron James leaving a lot of money on the table for a middle of the pack center. But for Klay Thompson, that's a different story. But to get there, I'm telling you, there's another.
I'm a fun guy. Obviously, I love the game of basketball.